You didn't ask for it. The yelling, the silence, the pressure to be perfect, the weight of walking on eggshells, the quiet loneliness of being raised by people who maybe loved you but didn't know how to show it. You didn't deserve the pain, but somehow it became yours. It lives in the way you apologize too much, in the way you shrink when someone raises their voice, in the way you can't ask for help without feeling like a burden. You think you've moved on, but the blueprint was drawn long before you knew how to fight it. You learned how to survive, but not how to feel safe. You learned how to stay quiet, but not how to speak up. You learned how to make others comfortable, but never how to ask for comfort yourself. And that's the truth no one told you. The pain didn't just happen back then, it followed you. Not because you're broken, but because you were never taught how to release it. So you carry it in your voice, in your body, in your relationships. You've been told they did their best, and maybe they did, but your pain still matters. It still shaped you, and pretending it didn't hurt won't heal you. Acknowledging it might. This isn't about blame. This is about recognition. That the pain you carry didn't start with you, but you're the one who's still holding it. And until you face it, it'll keep speaking through your silence. You didn't deserve the pain, but you deserve to be free from it. And that starts by admitting something hurt you, and you've been carrying it for far too long. This isn't your fault, but it is your healing. And it starts right here with the courage to look back, not to stay there, but to finally let go. They didn't come with a manual, no script, no healing, just their own childhoods, full of silence, survival, and unspoken rules. They didn't know what safety looked like. They didn't know how to say, "I'm sorry." They gave you what they had, and sometimes what they had wasn't enough. They loved you the way they were taught, some with fear, some with control, some with absence, some with too much discipline and not enough affection. It wasn't always love that felt like love, but it was what they knew to give. Maybe your father couldn't say he was proud. Maybe your mother used guilt instead of grace. Maybe they pushed you not because they hated you, but because they were afraid for you. Afraid the world would eat you alive if they didn't harden you first. It's easy to hold on to the ways they failed, to measure the love you didn't get. But sometimes healing begins when you realize they were swimming in their own pain too, and they passed down what they never healed from. This doesn't erase the impact. This doesn't silence the hurt, but it can shift the weight. Because if they gave you love with broken tools, you get to put those tools down. You get to rebuild with something softer, wiser, stronger. They loved you imperfectly. And while that may not have been enough to keep you from pain, it was enough to teach you what kind of love you won't repeat. You don't have to carry their wounds, but you also don't have to carry hate. Understanding is not weakness. It's freedom, and it frees you first. They loved you with what they knew. Now it's your turn to love yourself with what you've learned, and that love can rewrite everything.
You see them as mother, as father, as the people who were supposed to have it all figured out. But long before they ever held you, they were just people, trying, failing, hoping someone would love them better than they loved themselves. They had fears, regrets, dreams that never came true. Maybe they never learned how to speak their truth. Maybe they were never safe enough to feel their feelings. They didn't grow up with therapists or healing journeys. They grew up with survival. You think they were supposed to be strong, unshakable, but most of them were just kids in grown-up bodies, passing down rules they didn't even understand. And somewhere in that confusion, you were raised. This doesn't excuse the damage. It explains the patterns, the distance, the anger, the silence, the way they made love feel like a transaction or a punishment or a pressure you couldn't live up to. When you stop seeing your parents as heroes or villains and start seeing them as humans, something shifts. Not because it makes the pain disappear, but because it gives you permission to stop expecting them to become someone they were never taught to be. They were people with wounds, with weaknesses, with moments of trying and moments of failing. And when you accept that, you stop chasing the love they can't give and start creating the love you need. You don't have to keep asking them to be different. You don't have to keep reliving the past through every relationship. You get to grow beyond what they knew. You get to evolve the story. Your parents were people before they were parents. And now you are the person who gets to break the cycle, not out of anger, but out of awareness.
It's not a mystery. It's a pattern. Hurt people raise hurting people. Not because they want to, not because they're cruel, but because that's all they know. Pain becomes language. Fear becomes culture. Trauma becomes inheritance. They didn't always hit you with hands. Sometimes it was with silence, with pressure, with shame disguised as discipline. And you thought this is just how life is. But it isn't. It never was. They didn't teach you how to express. They taught you how to suppress. They didn't say, "I'm proud of you." They said, "Do better." And when you did, that wasn't enough either, because hurt people move the goalposts. They love with conditions they don't even realize they're setting. And now you're here, carrying that emotional math, trying to decode what love means, trying to trust when your foundation was made of fear, wondering why you overthink everything, why you flinch at kindness, why you feel guilty resting. It didn't start with you, but it can end with you. You can interrupt the inheritance. You can learn new language. You can rewire what love means. You can teach yourself what they never could. That doesn't mean dishonoring them. It means healing you. Because if you don't, you'll bleed that pain into every room you enter, every relationship you build, every child you raise. Hurt people raise hurting people, but healed people raise free people, present people, people who don't have to spend half their life unlearning what they were told love is. You were hurt, but you don't have to become the hurt. You can become the healer, and that changes everything.
They shaped your world, wrote the first chapters of your life, but they don't get to write the ending. The pain you were born into is not the path you have to stay on. You are not the story you came from. You don't have to keep repeating what broke you. You don't have to keep saying, "That's just how I was raised." You're not a copy. You're not a clone. You are the editor now, the author, the one who gets to choose the next line. The anger isn't your identity. The silence isn't your personality. The pain isn't your purpose. It was a chapter. It was a storm. But it's not you. It never was. You were just too young to know the difference. They gave you rules, labels, maybe even shame. And now it's your job to question all of it, to decide what stays and what doesn't.
to choose what you pass down and what you let end with you. Because cycles don't break themselves. Patterns don't vanish just because you want them to. It takes awareness. It takes discomfort. It takes the courage to say, this may be where I come from, but it's not who I am. You're allowed to want more, to feel different, to dream beyond what your parents could imagine. You're not betraying them. You're honoring your future. You are not bound by their trauma. You are not defined by their silence. You are the proof that pain doesn't have to be permanent, that legacy can mean healing, not just history. You are not the story you came from. You are the rewrite, the plot twist, the moment the narrative changes forever. You didn't start the fire, but you have been standing in the smoke for years, breathing it in, holding it in your lungs like it's your own. And now, you get to choose. Do you keep passing down the heat, or do you become the one who puts it out? This isn't just about you. It's about everyone who comes after you. The relationships you'll build, the family you might raise, the peace you'll carry, or the pain you'll repeat. You are the line, the intersection, the decision. If you don't heal it, they'll have to. The children, the partners, the people who didn't cause your wounds, but would still end up feeling the weight of them. Because what we don't face, we pass on. But you're doing the hard thing, the real work. You're feeling what they couldn't feel, saying what they couldn't say, unlearning what they never questioned. That's not weakness. That's warrior work. That's healing in motion. You're not broken. You're breaking the pattern. You're not lost. You're becoming conscious. You're not angry. You're awake. And not awareness is the beginning of something better than revenge. It's release. You can love them and still not become them. You can forgive them and still do things differently. You can carry your story without letting it carry you. This is your chance to heal it, so they don't have to. So it stops here. So love can begin again, in a new form, with softness, with truth, with you.